Ho, ho, ho. Oh, hello there. It is so very good to be with you. I am, of course, Santa Claus, speaking to you from my cozy little corner here at the North Pole. The fire is crackling away and the snow is falling outside my window. It's the perfect sort of day for sharing. And that's just what I was hoping we could do. For the next few hours, we'll be spending this time together. I thought I might tell a few stories from my long and happy memory. Maybe answer a question or two that the elves have brought me from your letters. And just share a few thoughts that this wonderful season brings to mind. So whether you're busy preparing a special meal, hanging decorations and making everything sparkle, or if you're simply sitting back taking a well-deserved moment of peace, you are in the right place. Consider this our time together. I am so very glad you're here. It truly warms my old heart. Ho, ho, ho!
Ho, 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 ho! You know, with all the busy work happening here at the North Pole, we always make time for a little bit of laughter. It keeps the spirit bright. I've heard a few that made me smile, and I thought I might share them with you. All right, here's one from Pip, one of our finest woodworkers. He asked me this the other day. Why did the elf put his bed into the fireplace? Oh, because he wanted to sleep like a log. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, that Pip. We did have to remind him to take it out before we lit the fire, of course. Now, the snowmen out in the courtyard were whispering this one. What do you call a snowman party? A snowball. It's true, you know. They have the most wonderful gatherings, all very formal, white button affairs. And of course, the reindeer have their own sense of humor. Blitzen shared this one with me just this morning. What is a reindeer's favorite game? Stable tennis. They are quite competitive, I'll have you know. You should see Donna's back hoof swing. It's really something to behold. Ah, it does the heart good to share a smile, a little bit of silliness. It's like a spark that lights up the whole room. Remember to find those little moments of joy and share them. A good laugh is one of the most wonderful gifts you can give.
Ho, ho, ho! It's so peaceful here in my study tonight. The only sounds are the crackling of the fire and the rustle of these wonderful letters. I have a few here with some very thoughtful questions, and I thought we could look at them together. Let's see. This first one is from a young fellow named Lucas, who is 8 years old. Lucas asks, what's one memory of Rudolph as a very young reindeer that always makes you smile? That is a wonderful question, Lucas. There are so many. I remember when he was just a little fawn, still a bit wobbly on his legs. We were playing a game of hide and seek in the snowy woods with the other young reindeer. Rudolph would find the most clever hiding spots, behind the large snowdrift or tucked away in a thicket of pine trees. But He always forgot about his nose. He'd be perfectly hidden, so proud of himself, and then a little cherry red glow would start to seep through the branches. We would all try so hard not to laugh as this little beacon gave his spot away every single time. He'd peek out, so surprised that we'd found him. Ho, ho, ho. It always makes me smile. Now, this next one is from Sophia, who I hear is a fantastic chef. Sophia, you ask, if happiness were a recipe, what would be the most important ingredient? What a beautiful thought! A recipe for happiness. You know, as a chef, you understand that some ingredients change the entire dish. For happiness, I believe, the most important ingredient is a generous spoonful of kindness. It's the one thing you add that makes everything else better. Kindness for your friends, your family, for strangers you meet. And just as important, kindness for yourself. It's the base that lets all the other good things like joy and laughter truly shine. And finally, a very clever question from James, who is a translator. James wonders, how do the elves who sort the mail learn to read all the different languages from around the world? Ho ho! An excellent question, James. It's not about books or lessons. You see, there is a special sort of magic in the mailroom. When a letter is written with true Christmas spirit, with hope and belief in a child's heart, it carries more than just words. The ink on the page seems to glow with the feelings of the person who wrote it. My elves don't just read the language with their eyes, they understand it with their hearts. It is a universal language of hope that they have become very, very good at listening to. Thank you, Lucas, Sophia, and James, for such wonderful questions. Never stop being curious. A heart full of wonder is one of the brightest lights in the world.
Ho, ho, ho! Have you ever looked at your stocking hanging there so patiently and wondered how it all began? How a simple sock became such a special part of Christmas morning? I see so many of them on my journey, you know, all different shapes and sizes. Some are knitted by grandmothers with a name stitched right on the cuff. Others are bright and fuzzy, covered in glitter that sticks to my gloves. And each one is waiting, just waiting for a few little treasures. A small toy, a handful of sweets, maybe a tangerine tucked right into the toe for good measure. The story is an old one, as old as kindness itself. It began long, long ago with a good man who had fallen on hard times. He had 3 daughters he adored, but he had no money to help them start their own families. Well, a certain friend, someone who loved helping in secret, heard of their troubles. This friend knew the family was proud and wouldn't accept charity outright. So one night he tossed 3 little bags of gold right down their chimney.
And where do you think they landed? Why, right inside the daughters' stockings, which they had hung by the fire to dry. Imagine their surprise the next morning. That small secret act of giving, it wasn't about the gold, you see. It was about the hope it brought. It was a whisper that said, "You are cared for." And that's what I think of every time I fill a stocking. It's not just a sock anymore. It's a little pocket of hope. It's a reminder that the most wonderful gifts are often the small, unexpected ones, given with a full heart. A little bit of magic just waiting for you on Christmas morning.
Oh, you know, some of the most profound wisdom in the world isn't found in a great library or an ancient scroll. Sometimes it's found right in the kitchen, amidst the warm scent of gingerbread and cinnamon. My dear Mrs. Claus, she has a way about her, a kind of magic that flows into everything she does. Just the other day, I wandered into the kitchen following my nose, as I often do. She had her grandmother's old cookbook open, the pages soft and dusted with flour from Christmases past. She was humming a little tune and measuring out spices for her famous sugar cookies. But then I saw her do something curious. She paused, looked at the recipe, and then, with a little twinkle in her eye, she reached for a small, unmarked jar. She took just a tiny pinch of something and sprinkled it into the bowl. I asked her, "My dear, I don't believe that's in the book." She looked up at me with that wonderful knowing smile of hers and said, "A recipe is just a suggestion. The real magic is the love you stir in." And isn't that just the truth of it all? She was right, of course. Those were the best cookies I'd had all year. It's that little bit of extra care, that tiny piece of your own heart that you add that makes all the difference. We are all so very fortunate to have her wisdom here at the heart of the North Pole. It keeps everything running, not just on time, but with love.
Ah, here we are. The fire is crackling so nicely tonight. In my hands, I hold a letter that has traveled a very long way, and it's one I feel I must share with you. It's not filled with requests for the latest toys or gadgets, but for something much, much more important. It's from a young lady named Isabella. She writes, "Dear Santa, I have been a very good girl this year, but I did something very clumsy.
We were getting the decorations out, and I dropped the box with our tree topper. It's a glass angel, and she's been in our family forever. My mom said it was her grandmother's. Now her wing is broken. I feel just awful. My parents weren't angry, just sad, which is worse. I don't want a new angel. It wouldn't be the same. So I was hoping, I know your elves are magical. Do they have any magic glue? The kind that could mend old glass so perfectly you'd never even know it was broken? That's all I want for Christmas, the chance to fix what I broke. Oh, my dear Isabella, your letter speaks of a love for your family that is far more beautiful than any glass angel. You see, accidents happen to everyone, even me. I once tripped over Comet's reins and sent a whole tray of Mrs. Claus's gingerbread cookies flying. She was very understanding, of course. The things we treasure, the heirlooms passed down, their value isn't in being perfect. It's in the stories they hold. For generations, your family has looked at that angel and felt the warmth of Christmas past. And now you have added a new story to its long life. It will be the story of the year Isabella loved it so much she wished for magic to make it whole again. The most powerful magic, my child, isn't for making things look as if they were never broken. The real magic is in the mending. When you and your family carefully piece that angel back together, you are doing more than fixing glass. You are adding your own layer of love and care to her. Those little lines where the pieces join, they aren't flaws. They are proof that when something precious is broken, your family puts it back together with love. That angel will be stronger now and even more special because it will forever hold the memory of your caring heart.
Ho, ho, ho! Come, sit for a moment. I was just looking over the great ledger. The ink on these pages, it positively glows, you know, especially when a new entry is written by the quills of kindness. Every time I think I've seen every sort of goodness the world has to offer, someone, somewhere, does something that simply makes my old heart swell. I found a few notes just now that I had to share. Let's see here. Ah, yes, this one is from a very busy city. A young man named David. Twice a week, he takes a bus to the community center. He finds a comfortable chair, and a few of the neighborhood elders gather round. Their eyes aren't as sharp as they once were, you see, so David reads to them. Sometimes the news, sometimes a chapter from a grand adventure. His voice brings the world to them. You see, it's such a simple thing, isn't it? But it is so very important.
He is sharing his time, his youth, and in return they share their stories and their wisdom. He is reminding them that they are cherished. That is a gift beyond any toy I could ever build. It's the gift of connection. Now, let's turn the page. And we'll travel halfway around the world to the vibrant streets of Mumbai. The entry speaks of a sudden afternoon downpour, the kind that turns the streets into rivers in a moment. A shopkeeper, a lovely woman named Priya, saw everyone running for cover. She stood at the door of her little textile shop and waved them in. Strangers, all of them. She ushered them out of the rain, offering a dry place to stand and even a warm cup of tea to hold. She expected nothing for it. It was a simple, pure welcome. An open door when the world was a bit stormy outside. That sort of hospitality, it is a language that everyone, everywhere understands. It says, you are safe here. You are welcome. Reading these entries, it makes the workshop feel even warmer. It reminds me that for every bit of trouble in the world, there are a million quiet acts of love and care. People looking out for one another. And that, well, that gives me all the hope in the world. It truly does.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh, there is such a wonderful energy in the air tonight. It reminds me of the North Pole just before the big journey begins. The final sack of toys is tied, the sleigh bells are polished and ringing. But before all of that, we have a very special tradition. A tradition of quiet. I wonder if you'd like to hear a story about it. It's called The Hour of Stillness. You see, for all the hustle and bustle that leads up to Christmas Eve, there is 1 hour, just one, when everything stops. A single deep chime rings out from the clock tower, and every hammer is set down. Every pot of cocoa is taken off the stove. The reindeers stop their shuffling and stand as still as statues. I remember one year, a young elf named Pip found this very confusing. It was his first year on the sleigh-loading team, and he was bursting with excitement. When the bell rang, he kept trying to adjust a ribbon on a gift. An older elf simply put a hand on his shoulder and shook his head with a kind smile. Pip fidgeted. He looked around as all the elves and Mrs. Claus and I gathered in the village square. No one spoke. They just looked up. Pip sighed, thinking of all the important work that wasn't getting done. But with nothing else to do, he looked up too. And that's when he began to feel it. It wasn't a grand flashing magic. It was a deep, quiet hum. He saw the stars brighter than he ever noticed before. He felt the crisp, cold air on his cheeks. He could hear the soft breathing of Dasher standing nearby. He saw the northern lights weaving a soft blanket across the sky. In that silence, he didn't just see the magic of Christmas. He felt it. He felt a part of it. When the hour was over and the bell chimed again, Pip went back to the sleigh. But his work felt different. It wasn't frantic anymore. It was joyful, purposeful. And that's the secret of that quiet hour, you see. In our rush to prepare for Christmas, it is so easy to forget to actually experience it. The most important gift we can ever receive is the peace that comes from just being. Being present with those we love and being present with the wonder of it all. It fills the heart right up, ready for the journey ahead.
Ho, ho, ho! You know, a good little riddle now and then is wonderful for the spirit. It keeps the mind nimble and the heart light. The elves and I share them often while we work. I've gathered a few of my favorites for you. Here's one to start us off. How do you know Santa is good at karate? He has a black belt. It's true, of course. It's been a part of my suit for as long as I can remember. Very sturdy. All right, here is another one. This one always makes Mrs. Claus smile. What's every parent's favorite Christmas carol? Silent Night. Ah, yes. After a day full of wonder and excitement, that peaceful moment when all is calm and bright, well, that is a precious gift indeed. Now for one more. This one is a bit silly. What do you get when you cross a Christmas tree with an apple? A pineapple. Oh, that one always gets a good laugh in the toy workshop. It's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected things can bring the biggest smiles. Ah, a good laugh. It's like a warm cup of cocoa for the soul, isn't it? Sharing a moment of joy, a simple smile. That's one of the very best gifts you can give. And it doesn't need any wrapping at all.
Have you ever peered deep into the branches of a beautifully decorated Christmas tree and found something a little unexpected? I'm not talking about a shiny bauble or a string of lights, but a pickle? Yes, a little green pickle ornament hiding amongst the pine needles. It's a wonderful game, you see. Someone in the family tucks it away deep inside the tree where it's tricky to spot. Then on Christmas morning, the first child to find the Christmas pickle gets a special little treat, or is said to have good fortune for the whole year to come. Oh, the excitement of that search! Now, many believe it to be an old tradition from Germany, but its true story is a bit of a wonderful mystery. One of my favorite tales about its beginnings is one of great hope. It speaks of a soldier, long ago, far from home and family during a difficult war. He was weary and had nearly lost all hope when a kind soul offered him a simple pickle. That one small kindness, that simple bit of food, gave him the strength to carry on and eventually return to his loved ones. And so, every year after, he would hide a pickle ornament on his family's tree. It was his way of remembering, a symbol that even in the darkest of times there is always hope, and that good luck can be found in the most surprising of places. I just love that. It goes to show that a tradition doesn't need to be grand to be meaningful. Whether it's a story of a soldier's hope or just a fun game for your family, the Christmas pickle is a lovely reminder. It brings you all together, searching and laughing. It reminds us to appreciate the small, simple joys and to always, always hold on to hope.
Ho, ho, ho! The fire is crackling so wonderfully tonight. It seems the elves have left me a small sack of letters that aren't wish lists, but questions. I do so enjoy these. It's a joy to share a little bit of the North Pole's magic with you. Let's see what we have here. This first one is from a pilot named Emily. She asks, after all the presents are delivered, what is the very first thing you do when you get back home to the North Pole? That is a wonderful question, Emily. After such a long flight, you must know the feeling well. The very first thing, before anything else, is to take care of the reindeer. They work so hard, and they are the true heroes of the night. I unhitch them from the sleigh myself, give each one a special northern moss cake, and make sure they are warm and settled in their stalls. They always have a story or two to tell me about the journey. Only after they are comfortable do I finally step inside, and there, waiting for me, is Mrs. Claus with 2 steaming mugs of the most wonderful hot cocoa you could ever imagine. We sit by the fire, not saying much at all, just enjoying the quiet and the warm glow of another Christmas well done. Now let's see. This one is from William, who is 11 years old. He asked something very thoughtful. Why is forgiveness sometimes called the greatest gift of all? William, that is a question wiser beyond your years. A toy brings joy for a time, but forgiveness, that is a gift that can mend a heart. Holding on to anger or hurt is like carrying a heavy, cold stone in your pocket. It weighs you down. But when you choose to forgive someone, you are not just giving them a gift, you are giving one to yourself. You are choosing to set that heavy stone down. It makes your own heart lighter, allowing room for more kindness and more joy to grow.
It is a gift that costs nothing but is worth everything. Oh. And one more for tonight. This one is from 7-year-old Ava, and it makes me smile. She asks, does the naughty and nice list update itself with magic ink, or does a special elf have to write in it every day? A marvelous question about one of our biggest secrets. The answer, Ava, is that it's a little bit of both. We have a very special elf named Bartholomew, the keeper of the quill. It's his job to watch over the great book, but the ink he uses is made from melted starlight and the laughter of children. When someone does something especially kind, the ink in the book shimmers and glows, and Bartholomew carefully writes down the deed. So you see, the magic comes from you, and the elves just help to keep the record. Thank you all for these wonderful questions. Your curiosity is a beautiful thing. Never stop wondering, never stop asking, and never stop believing in the good of the world.
You know, Mrs. Claus has a special kind of magic. It's not the kind that makes the sleigh fly, but a quiet wisdom that, well, it always seems to arrive at the very moment it's needed most. I was sitting right here in this very chair just the other night. The fire was crackling, and I could hear the elves humming carols down the hall. But my heart was a little heavy. I was holding a letter from a very dear friend of mine, a child who had shared some sad news from their home. I picked up my quill, wanting so very much to write the perfect words of comfort, but the page just stayed blank. I suppose even Santa Claus can feel a bit lost for words sometimes. And that's when she appeared, as she so often does, with 2 mugs of the best hot cocoa. She looked over my shoulder at the empty page, and then at me, and her eyes were so very kind. She placed a hand on my shoulder and said so simply, "When you don't know what to say, a warm hug speaks every language." Ho, she always is! It isn't always about finding the grandest words. Sometimes it's just about showing that you are there, that you care. That simple, warm truth made everything clear. Her wisdom is like that, you see. It's the compass that guides us all here. It reminds us that the most important gifts are often the ones we can't wrap in a box, but the ones we feel deep in our hearts.
Ah, yes. I have the great ledger open right here. Its pages filled with the stories of the year. It seems the ink is barely dry on some of these wonderful new entries. Sometimes when I see a particularly bright one, I just have to share it with someone. Let's see. My goodness, my eyes are drawn to a sunny school playground all the way in South Africa. I see a young girl named Lindive. While many children were busy in their own games, she noticed a new student sitting all by himself, looking a little lost. Without a moment's hesitation, she walked right over, said hello, and invited him to join her and her friends in a game of catch. Ho, ho, ho! Now isn't that something? It takes such a courageous heart to see the one person who feels left out and to be the one to bridge that distance. A simple hello, an invitation to play. It may seem like a small gesture, but to that young boy I am certain it felt like the warmest sunshine. That's the real magic of kindness, you see, making someone feel that they belong. Now, let's turn the page. And we travel from the warm sun to a chilly fishing port in Norway. It says here a group of friends spent their entire weekend together, not just chatting, but with needles clicking away, knitting the warmest woolen hats and scarves you can imagine. And when they were done, they didn't keep them. They placed them all in a public box by the docks for anyone who might need a bit of warmth against the cold sea air. Ho ho! Now that just warms my old heart. When friends gather not just for fun, but for good, their kindness is multiplied. Each stitch held a warm thought, a quiet wish for a stranger's comfort. What a beautiful thing! Seeing entries like these, from a single child reaching out to a group of friends working together, it fills my spirit with such hope. It shows that goodness is always at work in the world in so many different ways. It makes an old fellow like me very, very proud.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh, this letter here feels warm to the touch, almost as if it's been kissed by the sun. It has a lovely little drawing on the bottom, a palm tree with Christmas lights wrapped all around it. I do love that. Let me see what it says. Dear Santa, my name is Kai. I am 7. My mom says you are magic. I live where the sun always shines and the ocean is my front yard. I have never seen snow. I read in my books that every snowflake is different and perfect, like a tiny ice star. For Christmas, I don't want any toys. I just have one wish. Can you please bring me one single snowflake? Maybe in a magic jar that keeps it from melting. I want to look at it up close with my magnifying glass. That would be the best present in the whole world. Thank you, Santa.
your friend Kai.
You know, the air here at the North Pole is filled with all sorts of wondrous sounds. The tinkering of tiny hammers, the rustle of wrapping paper, the happy carols of the elves. But there is one sound that is the most precious of all. It makes me think of a tale we often tell the little ones, a story we call the Jingle Harp of Joy. Right in the very center of our village square, there stands a beautiful harp, carved from pure star-lit ice crystal. It shimmers under the glow of the northern lights. Oh, it truly is a sight to see. But the thing is, it is almost always silent. You see, it holds a very special kind of magic. It will only play its music when it feels the spirit of true, selfless joy in the air around it. Well, one morning, not so long ago, things in the workshop were, well, not so joyful. Two of my best toy makers, a young elf named Pip and his friend Ilara, had a silly little disagreement over the proper shade of red for a new bicycle. A small thing, really. That little grumble spread through the workshop, as those things sometimes do. Soon the happy hum of creation faded away, replaced by a quiet, heavy tension. And outside in the square, the crystal harp stood perfectly still and silent. Pip felt a little prickle of regret in his heart. He looked over and saw Ilara struggling to tie a particularly tricky silk ribbon on a doll's dress. Without a word, he walked over and, with a quick and clever knot he knew, helped her make the most perfect bow. He didn't say much, just offered a small nod. She looked up at him, surprised, and then a warm, genuine smile spread across her face. That one little smile was like a tiny spark. An elf nearby saw it and offered his neighbor the last gingerbread cookie from his plate. A moment later, a joke was whispered, and a small chuckle broke the silence. Then another. Before we knew it, the workshop was once again filled with happy chatter and laughter, even warmer than it had been all day. And that's when we heard it, a single perfect note ringing out clear as a bell from the village square. Then another and another, until the Jingle Harp was playing the sweetest, most joyful melody you have ever heard. It played for the rest of the day, a beautiful reminder for us all. It's funny, isn't it? The grandest music didn't come from a big celebration or a mountain of presents. It began with one small act of forgiveness. That's the real magic, you see. Joy isn't a thing you can find or create all on your own. It's a harmony you build together, one little note of kindness at a time.
Ho, ho, ho! I was just thinking about my dear Mrs. Claus. She has a way of seeing things, a special kind of wisdom that warms the whole North Pole. She notices when a little elf is feeling glum, or when one of my reindeer needs a kind word. Just the other day, I saw one of the younger elves trotting back from flight practice. Oh, his head was hung so low and his little antlers were drooping. The wind had been a bit tricky, and his landings weren't quite as smooth as he'd hoped. He was so discouraged. Later that evening, Mrs. Claus told me she'd had a little chat with him. She put a comforting hand on his shoulder and said something I've been thinking about ever since. She told him, "Even the North Star needs the darkness to be seen. Our troubles can help our goodness shine through." Isn't that just wonderful? She reminded him that it's not the easy flights that make a reindeer strong, but the ones where you have to try a little harder. It's in those moments we discover the strength we never knew we had. I do believe her wisdom is the brightest star we have here. It guides us all. It certainly guides me. Ho, ho, ho! There is nothing quite like settling down with a fresh stack of letters. The elves keep the mailroom so wonderfully organized, and the questions you send are my absolute favorite part of the day. They always give me something new to ponder. Let's see what we have here. This first one is from a young fellow named Benjamin, who is 10 years old. He asks, "We know Mrs. Claus makes the best cookies, but what is your favorite savory dish she makes for dinner?" Oh, an excellent question, Benjamin. While her gingerbread and sugar cookies are legendary, you are right to wonder about her dinners. My favorite, that would have to be her frost-kissed root vegetable stew. She gathers potatoes and carrots from her special garden, where they grow sweet under the glow of the northern lights. She adds herbs that only grow on the highest mountain peaks here, and when you take a spoonful, it warms you from the tips of your boots to the top of your hat. It tastes like home. Now, let's see. This one is from Charlotte, a librarian. What a wonderful profession. She asks, what is a good way for a quiet person to share their kindness with the world? Charlotte, this is a beautiful question, and it speaks to a very special kind of strength. You see, kindness doesn't need to shout to be heard. It is often found in the quietest moments. A warm smile to a stranger, holding a door for someone whose hands are full, or taking the time to truly listen when someone needs to talk. For a lover of books like yourself, perhaps it's recommending a story that you know will bring someone comfort. Quiet kindness is like a soft blanket on a chilly day. It doesn't make a sound, but everyone who feels it is made warmer. And here's one from little Oliver, who is 5 years old. He wants to know, what happens to the magic inside a gingerbread man when you take the first bite? Oh, Oliver, what a marvelous thought! You see, the magic in a gingerbread man is made of pure, sparkling joy. When you take that first bite, the magic doesn't vanish. Oh no, it transfers. It zips right from the cookie and into you. It's the magic that makes your eyes sparkle a little brighter and adds an extra bounce to your step. You are sharing the joy that the bakers put into making him. The magic simply finds a new, wonderful home inside of you. My goodness, what wonderful things to think about. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with me. Never stop wondering and never stop asking questions. It is how we keep the magic in our world alive.
Oh, you know, with all the careful work and planning that goes on here at the North Pole, it's so very important to take a moment for a good, hearty laugh. Mrs. Claus says a good chuckle is like a little bit of sunshine on a snowy day. I've heard a few little jests from the elves recently, and I thought I might share them with you. All right, here's the first one. Are you ready? What do you say to Santa when he's taking attendance? Present. That one always gets the reindeer going. They think it's very clever, especially when they are in fact all present for their evening carrots. Let's see. Ah, yes, this one is about my wonderful helpers. What kind of photos do the elves take? Elfies. Oh, you should see them. They'll gather around a brand new toy they've just finished, all leaning in together with the biggest, brightest smiles. It's a wonderful sight to behold. And now for one more. This always makes me think of my chilly friends out in the courtyard. What is a snowman's favorite drink? Iced tea. Ho, of course it is. It keeps them feeling wonderfully crisp and cool, you see. Ah, it truly does the heart good to share a smile. Laughter is its own special kind of magic, isn't it? It's a little spark of joy that connects us all. A gift we can give each other every single day. A very precious gift indeed. ho, ho! Have you ever looked at one of those beautiful Christmas plants? The ones with the fiery red leaves and deep green ones tucked underneath, and wondered where they came from? They seem to appear as if by magic, just as the season begins. They're called poinsettias, of course, and they do have a story that feels very much like magic. It's a tale I've cherished for a very long time, from a warm and wonderful place long, long ago. There was a young girl named Pepita who was on her way to the Christmas Eve celebration. Her heart was heavy because she had no gift to offer. She felt she had nothing worthy. As she walked, she gathered a small handful of common weeds from the side of the road. It was all she had to give. With tears in her eyes, she approached the nativity and placed her humble little bouquet down. And then something wonderful happened. The simple green weeds began to transform, bursting into the most brilliant star-shaped crimson flowers anyone had ever seen. They became known as the Flores de Nochebuena, the flowers of the Holy Night. It's a beautiful reminder, isn't it, that the most precious gifts aren't the biggest or the brightest. They are the ones given with a full and loving heart, no matter how simple they may seem. So now when you see a poinsettia lighting up a room with its color, I hope you'll remember little Pepita. I hope you'll see it not just as a plant, but as a symbol of the simple, beautiful truth that love is always the most wonderful gift of all.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh, now this is a treat. The elves are so wonderful at sorting the mail, but every now and then I like to look through the letters myself. And this one, well, this one caught my eye. The paper is thick and soft, and there's a little powdery smudge of flour right here on the corner. And if I bring it close... Ah, yes, cinnamon. It smells of a happy kitchen. Let's see what it says. Dear Santa, my name is Oliver, and I am 9. I hope you and the reindeer are doing well. I love to bake. My grandma says I have the knack for it. I help her make all the Christmas cookies we leave for you. But I was wondering, what is your favorite cookie? Not the ones we leave out, but your very own, all-time favorite that you eat at the North Pole. If you tell me, I promise I will practice making it all year. I'll make a batch every month, so that by the time you visit next Christmas, it will be the most perfect cookie you have ever tasted. I just want to make something special just for you. Your friend, Oliver. Oh, Oliver, what a wonderful letter. You know, you've asked about a cookie, but you've given me a gift far sweeter than any treat. It's the gift of your time, your passion, and your desire to create something with love. That, my dear boy, is the most powerful magic in the world. My very favorite cookie. Mrs. Claus and I have a special recipe. We call them winter warmth spice cookies. They aren't fancy. They have ginger and a pinch of cardamom and a little bit of orange zest that reminds me of the sunshine. But the true secret ingredient isn't something you can measure in a spoon. It's the feeling you have when you are making them for someone you care about. It's the warmth from the oven mixing with the warmth in your heart. So, Oliver, my recipe for you is this. Find a cookie that makes you happy to bake. One that fills the kitchen with a wonderful smell and makes you smile while you mix the dough. Practice that one. Pour all of your care and your kindness into it. Do that, and I promise you, when I arrive next year and taste the cookie you have made, it will be my new favorite. I am already looking forward to it. Keep baking, my boy. Ho, 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 ho!
Ho! Ah, there we are. I was just turning the pages of the great ledger. My goodness, the parchment is so old, but the ink shines as brightly as the day it appeared. Sometimes I come across an entry that makes me pause and smile, a story that warms me right through my red coat. I've found two today I simply must share with you. The first one takes us to a lovely little cafe in Paris. You can almost smell the warm croissants, can't you? There, a young art student named Amélie, with paint smudges on her fingers, did something quite simple. As she paid for her coffee, she also paid for the person behind her, a complete stranger. She asked the barista to just pass along a little note that said, "Have a wonderful day." That's all. It wasn't a grand gesture, but you see, that's the magic of it. It's a small, unexpected bit of light in an ordinary day. A little ripple of warmth sent out into the world with no expectation of anything in return. Oh, wonderful! Then my eyes drifted halfway around the world to a tall, gleaming office building in Tokyo. The story is quite different, but the heart is the same. An office worker, Kenji, saw that his co-worker was looking, swamped, buried under a mountain of work with a deadline looming. Kenji had finished his own work for the day, but instead of heading home, he quietly stayed for 2 extra hours, just helping to organize spreadsheets. It wasn't exciting work, oh no, but it was an act of true fellowship. He saw a burden and chose to help carry it, just for a little while. He gave the gift of his time and the quiet message that said, "You are not alone." Seeing these entries, one right after the other, a small, bright surprise and a quiet act of steadfast support, it fills my old heart with such hope. This is what it's all about. It's these moments that make the ledger glow so very brightly. It reminds me that the spirit of Christmas isn't just for one season. It's alive in kind hearts all year round.
The workshop has grown quiet for a moment. All the little hammers are resting, and the only sound is the crackling of the fire. It's in these peaceful moments that I often think of stories from long ago. Would you like to hear one? It's a favorite of mine, a tale I call Clementine and the Golden Orbs. Wonderful! Now, Clementine was one of our smallest elves. Her heart was as big as any, but her hands were tiny, and she worried her work wasn't as grand as the others. She'd watch the master toy makers crafting magnificent train sets and beautiful dolls, and she felt her own contributions were just too small to matter. But Clementine had a very special job. Tucked away in a warm, sunlit greenhouse was a single magical tree. This tree didn't grow apples or plums. It grew little globes of the purest sunshine. They looked much like the oranges you know, but they glowed with a soft inner light and felt warm to the touch even on the coldest winter day. Clementine cared for this tree, and it was her quiet joy. One year, on Christmas Eve, as she watched us load the sleigh, she saw a stocking filled with wonderful toys. Yet she felt something was missing. A little bit of warmth, perhaps? A little bit of light for the long winter ahead? On an impulse, she hurried back to her greenhouse, chose the most perfect glowing orb, and tucked it deep into the toe of the stocking. It was her secret, a simple gift she hoped would share the sunshine she so lovingly tended. Of course I noticed, but I also noticed the beautiful thought behind it. That small, warm orb nestled amongst the toys was a gift of pure love. And that little elf taught us all something that year. A grand, shiny toy is a wonderful thing, to be sure, but a gift that shares a little of your own light, your own warmth, well, that is the most powerful magic of all. It's a simple reminder that the truest gifts, they always come from the heart.